Welcome to the PBM Insider. I'm Jim Lodge, an actual PBM insider. Some of the big three PBMs have announced plans to implement rebate-free drug benefits programs. Given that a number of us in the PBM reform movement have been calling for the elimination of rebates altogether, this sounds like really great news. But when you look under the hood on these programs, they start to look a little less revolutionary than one might hope. A couple of notes about the fine print included in at least one of these. First of all, the changes won't take place until 2027. Secondly, and probably more importantly, is that the only plans that will have these programs available to them are fully insured through the insurance carrier that owns that particular PBM. That's a really important distinction because as a general rule, rebates on these types of plans are never passed through to the end customers and their members. Effectively, they simply are saying, we won't pay ourselves rebates anymore. Yay. It won't be until some unknown time in the future that the self-funded segment of the PBM market will be granted the option to access that particular program and thus actually benefit end customers and their members. In fact, the Wall Street Journal recently reported that these rebate-free models leave intact many of the financial relationships that have historically driven PBM profits, but are typically detrimental to plan sponsors and their members. While I certainly believe that this is a move in the right direction, I have a very crucial key question for the designers and implementers of these new programs that I suspect will not yield the answer I'm looking for. You've heard me in the past be highly critical of a group of key players in the procurement chain between drug manufacturer and patient, namely the group purchasing organizations or GPOs. I believe these organizations are an unnecessary link in that procurement chain, and when they take their cut, actually drive prices higher, not lower. And after an in-depth review, the Federal Trade Commission reported exactly that. A common description and synonymous term for GPOs is rebate aggregators. That being the case, my question is a simple one. If rebates are going away, hey, are we going to dismantle those GPOs and remove them from the procurement chain? I mean, after all, what's the purposes of a rebate aggregator when you no longer have rebates as part of the equation? I have not seen that addressed directly, but I have seen indications that the answer is quite simply, no, that's not going to happen. Why? Because the GPOs have shifted over the last several years in that they not only negotiate rebates, but they also negotiate what's called manufacturer's fees. These are formulary placement fees, data access fees, administrative services fees. Functionally, these manufacturer fees operate a lot like rebates. They're paid after the fact, they're based on the price of the drug, they're hidden from plan sponsors, and they're contingent on formulary positioning. What's been happening is a de-emphasis on rebates as a GPO revenue source and an increasing emphasis on manufacturers' fees. And as a general rule, these fees cannot be contractually shared with the health plan. Bottom line, folks, it remains a pay-to-play game where the big guys hold a lot of leverage over the pharmaceutical manufacturers. Call me a cynic, but until the GPOs are fully dismantled, I'm going to remain skeptical that the cost to plan sponsors is really changing, irrespective if rebates are involved or not. What's the message to plan sponsors? It's pretty simple. Be sure to work with a PBM that contracts directly with the drug manufacturers and does not employ a DICE's loaded GPO component. It's just common sense that not having that extra step in the procurement chain is going to make your buying efficiency greater in terms of achieving lowest net cost. This is the PBM Insider, keeping you informed.